Tonight, PSG are back in Ligue 1 with a tricky trip to Metz. One of those games that should be easy and look simple on paper, but can quickly become uncomfortable if you're not fully locked in. Metz will sit deep, fight for every second ball, and try to turn this into a physical, stop-start match, exactly the kind of scenario that has caused PSG problems in the past. So the key questions tonight are simple. Can Paris impose their rhythm early, stay patient against a low block, and get the job done without drama? Let's break down what to expect, the likely lineups, and why this match matters more than it might seem. So, FC Metz Paris Saint-Germain, we are back to Ligue 1. It is the last game of Ligue 1 before the Christmas break. Obviously, we'll still have two PSG games after that. We're playing this in Metz a couple of days after going to Bilbao. And honestly, it should be an easy game. On paper, it will be an easy game, but it's got all the hallmarks of a game that could turn into really way more complicated than it should be. So I'll kind of go into detail. We're a few hours before the game, so I can give you the last information pre-game. And I think the main thing to start with is the starting 11s. I think that's typically, the key piece of information. And in this case, for PSG, it's actually really, really hard to forecast. What we know is what Luis Enrique has said in his pre-game interview is that we're likely to see a lot of turnover. And it's one of the reasons why I'm a bit nervous. It's because this game, like I said, is coming 2 days after a Champions League game that we already played away from home. We played on Wednesday night in Bilbao, a tough, physical, intense game. We came back to Paris. We actually spent Wednesday night in Bilbao and only came back to Paris on Thursday morning. And so we basically only had 1 day in between before traveling to Metz this Saturday to play this game. Metz as well, just geographically, it's a small town. It's in the northeast of France. It's typically the coldest part of France at this time of the year. It's a small stadium as well that can be quite old. So there's really a lot of things which are making me cringe a little bit. In terms of starting 11, like I said, there's a lot of turnover planned. And so there's a lot of uncertainty literally for every position around who's going to play and who's not. We've got 3 players who we know are out, are injured, are not in the group for this match. It's Kimi, who's back in Morocco to prepare the African Cup of Nations. Marquinhos, who picked up an injury against Bilbao and is out for this game. And Dembele, who's back in training after being sick last weekend, but not available for this game. So those 3 are out, the rest of the group is in. And so starting with goalkeeper, question mark. Chevalier is back in the group, but Safonov has done well for the past couple of games. So there's uncertainty there. Typically, it's really 50-50 at this point because on one end, you'd expect Luis Enrique to go back to what he had in his mind, which is Chevalier is the starting goalkeeper. But at the same time, there's also been noise in the media that maybe he gives Chevalier a bit more time to rest up after his injury and play Safonov again for this game. There's even been, I've seen stuff that if Safonov plays and get a 3rd clean sheet in a row, maybe it starts putting Chevalier in the balance. So it's very unpredictable at this point. So yeah, I honestly, I'm having I'm having a hard time. I really don't know. I hope Safonov plays because I think he's played very well in the 2 games that he had to play in Le Havre and then in Bilbao. And so there's no reason for him to lose his spot in the starting 11 on account of just Chevalier being back. So I hope he gets the chance, and we see where it takes us. The question mark is then in central defense, because like I said, Marquinhos is injured, so we're expecting Zabarni to start. Obviously, Zabarni and Safonov played together for the second half of the game against Bilbao. without any drama. And I think, there wasn't too much noise and too much drama made around it, but it remains a sensible topic. So I don't know if this has an impact on the player selection or not. Hopefully not. Hopefully, like, football is football, and it can be, like a peaceful area, I guess. Even if there's, obvious drama between the two countries. But we'll have to see. And so in defense, in the end, Zabarni is pretty much an errand starter with Marquinhos injured. Next to him, Beraldo is just coming back from injury, so I think Pacho is going to play. And then on the wings, probably Mayulu playing over Warren Zaire-Emery, who's been playing literally every game non-stop since Atalanta. If you remember that was like probably in September. So he's played every game since then, and so he could use a little bit of a rest. And so Mayulu would come in on the right side of defense. It's a spot that is taken a few times. And then on the left, Lucas Hernandez was suspended in the Champions League, but he's back here, so he probably plays this one and gives Nuno Mendes a little bit more rest. And so I expect Hernandez. In midfield, kind of hard as well. So like easy one. Fabian Ruiz didn't play he didn't start the game against Le Havre. He played against Bilbao, but he should start again on this one. So Fabian Ruiz, I expect, will be in. And then Vitinha, João Neves, big question marks around them. I kind of hope personally that Vitinha can sit this one out and that we play Kangin Lee in his place. But then the third spot in the midfield, either like have João Neves play again, but he didn't look super sharp after in Bilbao, or like maybe play Engine 2 in his spot. But that's starting to look like a very, very rotated team. So not entirely sure what Luis Enrique will do, especially since as we move into the attack, what we're looking at is likely, and that's what's coming out in the media, a front three of Mbaye, Barcola, and Ramos, which is solid. It's good players obviously, and like we're playing Metz, so it should be good enough, but it's obviously a lot of rotation. So that's kind of what it's looking like. A lot of uncertainty. So don't hold me to it. Obviously, Luis Enrique is always completely unpredictable as well. But the reality is that we're coming out of a Champions League game and we've got a final of the Intercontinental Cup to play 3 days after this. So it's games where it could be useful to rest a lot of players. And the other thing, actually, which might impact a little bit in terms of team selection, is that our next domestic game is our French Cup game against 5th division team Vendée-Fontenay, which we play after the final of the Intercontinental Cup. And there is a rule in France which says for those French Cup games, you need to have X number of players who have played in the last league game. And so if we rotate now, it gives us opportunities as well to keep rotated players for that, supposedly easier game that we're going to have to play as well after a quick trip to Doha. So that could impact as well and explain why we see a lot of youngsters in this game. So we've got that flexibility going into the French Cup game. So it is kind of where we stand for PSG, and I think for Metz it should be a little bit more easy. Typically they play a 4-2-3-1, so Fischer in goal, Kawuo on the right, Bamin, Yekbe in central defense, Colin on the left, Deminguet and Stambouli in the double pivot in front of the defense. Sabali on the right, who's I think PSG Academy graduate from a long time ago. Ain, who's their captain in the middle, and Sitaishvili on the left, and then Diallo up front. Honestly, so like their seeding, they lost to Auxerre in the last day, which saw them like take the last spot in Ligue 1, and Auxerre move past them. It's a team that for years and years now has been going back and forth between Ligue 1 and Ligue 2, and going like up and down and up and down and up and down. They're in last place. They had a few good results though. They started the season horribly, and then they got better for a while. They really pulled together and pulled a series of 3 wins, but now they've been back on the losing bandwagon for 2-3 games. But I'll say this, at home, they're not the easiest team to navigate. So recently, like just before the Auxerre game, Rennes went there and only managed to win 1-0. When, if you remember my preview of the Rennes game, they were like the team on form in Ligue and so on. They only managed to win 1-0 in Metz. Strasbourg early on the season only managed to win 1-0 in Metz. And you know, there's a few teams that had like some like surprising results, I guess, is what I would say. Lens is a big one. Lens lost 2-0 in Metz. So the leader of Ligue 1 right now managed to lose on that ground. So when I say this, you know, we should be a bit careful, I really, really mean it, honestly. Like, it's really like, yeah. What to expect from this game, though, given the dynamics of the two teams, given like the level of talent on the pitch and the players that we have and so on, obviously I expect them to sit deep in defense. It's really shouldn't be a team that offers much of a challenge for us. We have like way more quality in terms of technicality, in terms of tactics, in terms of physicality, even in our current state, like more quality. Their goalkeeper is far from foolproof. Their central defense is really can be very naive and not very much on the ball. Their midfield can be all over the place as well. You can combine and play like short sequences of short passes around them. Honestly, like there's a lot of flaws in this team. But at the same time, it can also become a game where like they sit 5-6 players at the back, really stay very, very contact. And, you know, like the game starts 0-0. And if it's still 0-0 at the 15th minute, and then at the 30th minute, and maybe at halftime it's still 0-0, and the crowd gets in, and it's cold, and we're tired, and it's not our usual player, like that's when anything can happen, and that's when like it becomes a bit dangerous for us. I really hope we can just like break them apart, score a goal early, kind of make this game easy for ourselves, because this is really what we need from this game. But yeah, there is a scenario which is making me very nervous. I'll be honest, like it's making me, and I don't mean because like, you know, 90% chances we win this one 3-0, like clean, no drama, and like move on to Intercontinental Cup. So I don't want to like, you know, sound very pessimistic either. My prediction is still a PSG win. It's still a dominant PSG win. I think it should be like, you know, I really hope actually that after the Bilbao game, our players go like, hey, fuck this shit. Like, you know, we're PSG. We're not doing 0-0 again. We're going to put 4 goals past you and go into Doha with like really like a statement win at our back. And, you know, that would be my prediction, because despite everything that's being said, our players, they're very much competitors. We're going to play a rotated team, meaning like all of the players that we play, they're going to want to make an impression just before the Intercontinental final, so they have a chance to feature in this game. And so yeah, like, you know, it's a game we want to win. We want to win it big, and we should be able to win it big. And so like what to expect, a tough game for sure. I think much tougher than like people imagine when they look at just like the rankings on the league and the form of the teams. But it's not going to be an easy one. But yeah, like 3-0, 4-0. Let's do it. Let's go. It's go time. We've been scoring goal in Ligue 1 again. We've been scoring goal like against Tottenham. We've got like, you know, Doué, I think he's going to probably like play 30 minutes in the second half. Gvara probably as well. Maybe Vitinha comes on. Like, you know, we've got a lot of, maybe Nuno Mendes get a bit of playing time as well to get back into fitness. So we've got a lot of ammunition on the bench. So let's do it. Let's just do it. let's go, let's get the win, let's dominate and close, because once again, last game of Ligue 1 this calendar year, and I do not want to go on holiday with Lens being 3 or 4 points ahead of us, and Marseille like biting at our heels. Let's finish it clean. We've got 3 games. This is the first one to finish clean in the league, win a trophy, qualify, do the job against a 5th-tier team in the cup. This is, non-negotiable at this point. And then we can go on holiday, have a couple of weeks and kind of rest, and everyone gets better. But so this is it, and this is what my expectation would be for this game. So anyway, this is what I had for you guys. The game is in a few hours, so I hope you will have the time to see this video ahead of it, and hopefully it won't age very, very poorly when we watch the game. But let me know in the comment what your prediction is. What score do you expect? As always, please drop a like if you've made it this far. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And even in Metz, even in the cold, ici c'est Paris!